All right, everybody, Intellivision has finally given us a much anticipated update. Is it going to have any video of what's going on? No. Is there going to be a clear launch date? No. Is there going to be any even photographs of the systems in production? No. So before I get into this, let me just set up the background, if you will. I want to remind you that 866 days ago from today, Tommy Tallarico in this video, Intellivision Amico family-friendly video game entertainment system, this promotional video, he said that they were on the launch pad, that the rocket ship had been built and they were on the launch pad. They just need some fuel to take off, leading most reasonable people to believe him to mean the system's done. It's ready. We just need some money to manufacture it. Okay, let's skip ahead to August 7th, 2021, a little over a year ago, where they said when they had to push back a launch date, and they said, in spite of these supply hurdles hampering our ability to fill all orders, try any orders, we are focused and determined to deliver pre-order units by the end of the year. Boy, this email that I'm about to read, this update, surely makes it sound like they were just flat out lying at this point. Also, November 23rd, 2022, Amico production has begun. Not quite a year ago, but we're getting close to the 1-year mark of this statement from an email. I think this is a lie too. I don't know about you, so let's dig into this email. This was sent yesterday. Curiously, it was sent out at a time after Pat and Ian recorded their podcast, who are perhaps the most well-known critics of the system. Interesting timing. Greetings, this is Phil Adams, CEO of Intellivision. I had planned to respond sooner with the company status, but the team has been working through some production pipeline bugs that have delayed this update. By the way, in my last video about the Amico, when I talked about their last-ditch effort, how one of their plans was to build these units, hand build them, I said, hey, this might be harder than it seems. Unexpected bugs could come up. Well, look what's happened. As I've stated previously, updates from myself will be made when material facts are available and relevant. How about how many people are still waiting on their refund? Viewer Steve said he hasn't gotten his refund. Give Steve his pre-order refund. He wants it. He's been waiting a while. How about how much money you have for actual manufacturing? How about some of that stuff? How about your investors getting an update of how their money was spent? That being said, here are a few updates. Number one of our primary goals for the small pilot run, interesting because last email they called them production units, was to uncover any issues in the production pipeline before starting a larger production run. I want to stop here for a second. That makes me really wonder what the units were that they used at the live events that didn't seem to have any issues, but all of a sudden they're having issues. Could it be that the units they used at the live events were not final prototypes, if you will? Maybe they were just, a few, extra memory under the hood or something like that. And they were trying to make it as cheap as possible. Now they're running into issues. I continue. Fortunately, we did catch one significant problem. Diagnosing this issue and implementing a solution was a significant effort and caused a delay. The symptoms pointed to a bug in the controller firmware, but that was not the case. The problem was an order of operations issue when provisioning the console on the production line with its unique identifiers and security keys. The error manifested on the next reboot in a way that it looked like a controller bug. With that resolved, the path is clear to finish the pilot run in the next few weeks. I don't understand why he's giving all this verbiage, unless it's because they believe that people don't believe him, so they have to make it sound technical so that people will be more likely to believe him. I don't know why people wouldn't believe him, despite the fact that, they've said a lot and they haven't followed through. Oh, and wait a minute, hang on. The path is clear to finish the pilot run in the next few weeks. Where have I heard that before? Let's see. Oh, that's right. The last email when they call this the test production run of Amico, that these units should be completed in the next few weeks. That's the same exact verbiage, but that was 12 weeks ago. Now, let me ask you, what have you been doing in the 12 weeks where a few weeks is still a few weeks? I'm just curious. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Second thing, we signed a licensing deal with BBG Entertainment, the details of which will be announced later. Here's a quote from the director. We are very pleased to have licensed 4 Amico games and the original game versions from Intellivision. So what does this tell me? These are for reimagined games. Intellivision, if it's like a bundle, original, so maybe we're looking at Shark, maybe we're looking at Astro Smash, maybe we're looking at Skeen, something like that, where they're taking the original games and the original Intellivision games and the updated versions. So they license for the past 3 years, we have been working on the Intellivision on the development of our games Dynablaster and Brain Duel for the Amico. Remember, those exclusive games are not so exclusive. It seems like they previously already released a Dynablaster game, and they released an Einstein kind of brain training game, which I believe is basically Brain Duel's an updated version of that. We are excited about Amico and hope that customers will be as well. We're looking forward to offering the 4 licensed Amico games and the original Intellivision versions on other platforms soon. I thought these games were only going to be possible on the Amico with the unique controller. I thought that made all the difference. I thought that these games would be exclusives. One of the hooks, why are we buying a system that in some regards costs more than a Switch if you want the 2 controller bundle or what have you? Why would we do that if we could just play the games on a Switch? Sounds like that's what's going to happen. By the way, this group, I have nothing against BBG Entertainment, but from what I gather, they're not exactly a Sony or Nintendo. So this tells me that there's not a lot of money in this deal. Maybe there's a revenue sharing kind of thing. Maybe there'll be distributors, but it sounds like if you're expecting to get enough money to manufacture from this deal, where you need millions, this deal is probably, maybe if I'm generous, in the tens of thousands. I don't know. We have another partnership deal that will ensure 2 of our most anticipated IPs will be available across multiple platforms as well as Amico. 2 of our killer apps will be able to be played on other systems. The details of that relationship will be announced at a later time. The target for these IPs is simultaneously or later with the Amico release. So, what's the point of the Amico if we're going to be able to play the games on other systems for a lot cheaper? Why would we pay so much extra for the system and buggy controllers, as they have admitted they're having controller, communication, some sort of issues with the controllers? And by the way, I've said in the past that I believe that the controller is an albatross around the neck, that having to communicate with the system, you have a touch screen on the controller that has to communicate with the controller, that has to go through Bluetooth to the system. I believe that that's causing what some people have observed as lag. I believe that and the controller, they have admitted, is one of the most, if not the most expensive part of the system, driving up cost. As cool as the controller might sound in concept, it sounds like it really is dragging the Amico down, possibly to its death. But what's the point? What's the point if you can get these games on other systems? And will they get enough money out of this? I don't see none of the games I've seen shown so far. Some of them might be fun titles, but none of them come across as $1 million games. And from my understanding, it's going to cost millions of dollars to manufacture the Amico on a true factory line. And I don't see any of these games doing this. Unless they get an investor, I don't think it's happening. And I don't think they're getting an investor. Given that we will have a limited number of Amico units initially, these partnerships will get the games into more hands that have been waiting to play, while helping get the word out to a larger audience. As stated above, we are doing everything we can to make sure that we have a stable system before starting production. Wait a minute, I thought you had it stable now. I thought fixing the controller. Is it just me, or does that sound like the system may not be stable yet? Even though right away they said, hey, there was this controller possible issue, we thought, and we thought it was a controller problem. It wasn't, and everything's good now. But we need to make sure we have a stable system. Wow. I guess they really aren't on the launch pad yet. I guess, the whole idea of getting Amico orders fulfilled by the end of 2021 was a little bit deceptive. I would like to thank you again for your support, and thank to our internal team, external developers who work tirelessly to create a family gathering experience on Amico and other platforms that bring people of different ages, skills together in group play. I don't know about you, but all that email did was tell me that they still aren't ready yet. They still don't have the money for manufacturing or their refunds that they talked about, that they said they were going to put in a queue. They are down a lot of staff and office space. I don't know how this is going to actually become a reality at this point in time. I mean, it just seems to expose all the times in the past where they said, hey, we have to move the date a little bit. We're missing a few supplies, but we're getting there as soon as we get those supplies or whatever. And it seems like this whole time they've just been saying whatever they need to say to pacify people, even though it's not the truth. And now with the games appearing on other systems, which, by the way, a lot of people said, hey, why don't you start out as a publisher first? And if the games turn red hot, then look into possibly making a system. That seemed to be a more smart, sound business plan. The genie's out of the bottle. They have raised $17 million. They have a lot of debt. Are these games, even if they appear on other systems, going to be able to raise enough money just to pay for their debt? Is it going to raise enough money to start manufacturing? I don't know. I guess time will tell. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you next time.